What is going on, YouTube? Zero Lead here, back again with a brand new video, episode 15 of the Disco Era USS Enterprise tutorial. Thank you for tuning into today's video. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. I definitely appreciate that and when you help me support the channel. Today we've got some work to do. We're going to be picking up from episode 14 where we left off on working on our pylons and our impulse engines. And just going over what we've previously talked about, we're going to be working on our pylons, trying to thicken them up, not quite to what we have in this picture here, because remember we're shaving about 5 pounds off this build to make it look a little bit more like the TOS Enterprise. But other than that, that's the only visual change that we're making to the actual design. And then we're also going to be working on these impulse engines. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. And at this point, I'm just kind of checking out what we did from the last video. We're looking pretty good. There's not going to be a heck of a lot more changes that we're going to have to make. I do think that where I have this extra curve right here, going to have to bring that back a little bit more now that we added an extra thickness. I think that's what's messing up the pylons at this point. So I'm just trying to get an idea of how I want to do this. Might do some work in the front of this extra layer that we have, but right now I'm just adding 2 on the back of the existing layer that we've already added. And I'm going to repeat this process going all the way down. I'm probably going to have to add a couple of extra rows. Alright, so let's do the same thing on the right. Let's go ahead and bang that out and then take a look. And if you have any questions regarding this build, don't forget to drop a comment below. Usually very responsive in the comments section. I do try to be as descriptive as possible when I'm doing these tutorials, so if you have, if I don't go over something or if I'm not specific enough, hey, it happens, you know, but drop a comment and usually respond to you in the comments section. Let's see here. That actually looks pretty decent. I don't know. Might need to give it just a little bit more thickness. Now we don't have, this isn't going to be a super long video, only about 21 minutes left. I didn't want to stretch this out too much. I definitely had some work to do on the pylons and impulse engines, but I didn't want to release 2-hour-long videos. So for that, I decided just to break this up into 2 videos. Every once in a while, if there's really a lot that I just have to go over, I might just have crammed it all into one, but in this case, I think it's better just to split it up. So I'm just checking things out here, kind of getting an idea of what I want to do. Looks like I'm thinking here that I want to make it the same thickness on the backside. I think. I don't know. See, that doesn't look right with it going like that. It looks like a shelf. And that's not what we're trying to do here. So that's definitely something you have to watch out for when you're doing these. It's definitely a challenge working with the blocks. If you're not careful, your ship can get pixelated and distorted very easily. So it definitely takes some patience when you're doing this. So I'm just kind of checking out the pylons, the work that I've done, trying to get an idea of how I want to edit this a little bit more to make it a little bit closer to the picture. I don't know if that's what's messing me up. And that's the thing, sometimes you're just going to have to try a couple of different things until you land on what works. May not always get a solution on the first attempt. I don't know if I'm going to leave this being too wide after we add this extra layer. I think I'm going to have to shave off something here. But basically what we're doing right now, we're just filling in the backside of our extra layer. That could work. If I shave off the front, now let's do the same thing on the right side. I think this could work. So let's go ahead and add in, fill all this in. And then we're going to shave off the front side of it. Just want to go back over here and look at what I have, make sure what I'm doing is right. Another thing that you can do too to save you time from going side to side is just take a screenshot and have it on your phone. This way you can look at it. So let's bang all this out. I'm making some pretty good progress here. Doesn't feel like we're already on episode 14, or excuse me, episode 15. Man, I mean, we're flying here. I still don't know how many episodes this is going to go out to. It could go out to 50, it could go to 30. I'm not really sure. Again, we're just going to kind of have to see where it lands on, but I'm definitely going to be having more content for you guys. By the time I finish the build, I'm still working on the Enterprise, but by the time I do finish it, the tutorial series will still be going. So once I finish the Enterprise, I'm going to start working on something else. More than likely, I think I'm probably going to start something else while I'm working on the Enterprise, just to switch it up a little bit. And then I might start. I haven't decided yet, basically. Whatever ship or whatever I decide to build next, I'm either going to wait until the Enterprise tutorial series finishes, and then I'll start another one, or I might start them at the same time. I might wait just for the sake of having extra content, and I don't want to put out so much stuff that I get to a point where I just have nothing to put out. I've gotten into a groove where I have enough video recorded that I can go for a little bit of time. If, let's say, I didn't get on Minecraft or do anything, I could probably go for a little while without having to, and I could keep making videos. I want to keep it that way. So I'm going to keep doing stuff. So the reason I'm bringing that up, if you have anything you want to see me build on here, please drop a comment below. I'm usually pretty responsive, and you never know. I might really be filling that build idea, and if I have enough people commenting that they want to see it, then I'll definitely do it. All the people that were asking me to do a full-size Enterprise tutorial, I'm doing this for you guys. You've asked me for years to do this, and I did the mock tutorial. A lot of you were happy with that and didn't even ask me to do anything past that. And at the time, I didn't really think that I could. But I'm really glad that I was able to push myself to this point to getting here, and I hope that you enjoy this series. I made it for you guys. Anyway, moving back onto our tutorial, just doing what I said I was going to do. Now that we added on our extra layer on the back, I'm going to be removing the front side. So right now we're doing that on the right side of our pylons, and once we finish this side, we're going to go over to the left side and repeat the same process. So that's one thing, the pylons, they need to have a certain thickness to them, but and also you have to watch out on the pattern, because they can, like I said, you can, if you're not careful, your pylons can quickly turn into shelving, and they can also turn into plus signs, depending on how thick you make them. I think we're going to get rid of those extra blacks and just fill in what we have. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the right side. Well, on the left side, actually. Okay. We are cooking with peanut oil. I haven't said that in a while, but it's true. We're definitely cooking with peanut oil now. We are making some serious progress here. Okay. Let's get the rest of this line banged out on the left, because we edited the right side of our pylons with the getting rid of those extra black blocks, and then also filling in the cut. Now let's zoom out and take a look at what we just edited and see how this looks. Now see, that still has a nice line up there, so there's some texture there, differentiation, so it doesn't just look like a wing swooshing there. Looks a little bit better for Minecraft. You can get away with that on a model, but I think on Minecraft you have to have texturing like that in certain places to make it look right. Alright, so we have to adjust this gray line, and this is basically kind of like, I guess you could say it's like a bracket or a paneling that's going around our pylon. And I'm literally just making a gray strip to wrap around it. And we're moving along. We've got about 10 minutes left in this video. So let's see how much we can get done. I think we may have enough time to even work on our impulse engines. I believe that we are. And that is something that you can expect to see me do a little bit. Some things I'm usually pretty good about that once I start it, I'll finish it, but from time to time I will mix it up. I'll work on something for a while, then I'll take a break from it, and then I'll move on to a different section of the ship. I just do that because sometimes I'm not happy with how it's coming out, or maybe it's not progressing as fast as I want it to, or for whatever reason I'm just fed up with that section of it. So if that happens, you take a break and work on a different section. You can always go back to it. Anyway, looking at what I did, I mean, that looks pretty good. And if you pull up your side shot of the Enterprise, it definitely has that bracket kind of underneath your pylon there. So, I mean, that looks really good. And we have our black line in the middle to simulate the slash that should be going through, but we're not actually going to cut that out, because if you did, it's going to look very pixelated and distorted. So the black strip there does its job. That's all you really need. This is looking pretty good. Now I'm going to fly around here. Let's see. You know what? I think, you know what? We're not going to be zooming around checking stuff out for too long. So let's go ahead and add another row. We're going to go right into our impulse engines. Give it a thickness. You can see, like, if you pull up a picture on the impulse engines, it kind of has like that lip to the top of them. Ideally, and this is something I haven't mentioned in my tutorial series, ideally when you're doing something like this, like if you have a model of the ship, that's even better, because then you can visually, see the ship in 3D and spin it around and look at it from different angles. Otherwise, you're restricted to those pictures. Another thing that you can do to maybe get around it, I didn't do it for this build. The pictures that I had were kind of sufficient enough for me. But every once in a while, depending on the build, if I can find it, sometimes what I'll do a search on Google, like for example in this case, you type in Disco Era USS Enterprise 3D model. And basically what you want to try to find is a 3D model that you can spin around and look at it from any angle. And that would pretty much substitute your model that you would look at. Alright, so you can see now that I'm getting rid of some of the gray blocks in between our darker lines that we added in. This is where we're actually going to build the inner part of our impulse engines. The shape of them here isn't going to change too much, but I don't really need to do too much other than that. I mean, just the little that I built right there, I think that looks pretty good. We're going to have to get rid of this gray strip right here. That's going to have to, or excuse me, that black strip, that's going to have to be all gray. I don't want to because that looks great there, but if you look at the underside of the Enterprise, the impulse engines carry underneath the saucer here a little bit. Now, I don't do anything past this dark black line here, but I think eventually I am going to go back and extend them out underneath the saucer a little bit closer to what it should be. Because that's something that you can do too. I do mention this from time to time. Sometimes it's good just to have a template to work off of. Once you have your template of your ship, then you can start going back and really making those changes that again will help bring your ship to life. Um, and maybe it just didn't come out the way that you wanted it to the first time. So now you've got the opportunity to go back again and make it look even better. So I've gotten rid of both of those darker lines. Now on the top, I'm going to get rid of this light gray line. I'm going to fill this in with dark. We are going to do it on the sides there, but we're not going to do that right now. Let's do it on the left now. So impulse engines are a little bit more trickier, I think, so I think just to stop myself from making a mistake, if I do one thing on the left, I'm going to do it on the right immediately. Got the outer side, and let's do the same thing on the left. Well, actually the right, if you're looking at the front. That looks pretty good. I think that looks pretty darn good. Now you see, just these details. If you would have had different impulse engines on here, somebody would be like, oh, that's not the Disco Era Enterprise. And this is what I'm talking about, where these details are going to be so important to your ship. Because maybe the impulse engines by themselves isn't going to sell it. But when you start combining the impulse engines and what you're doing with the neck and the lower hull and the pylons and eventually the nacelles when we add those and then the upper hull, it's all going to come together. But it's just basically a layering process, just doing it, breaking it down and doing it piece by piece by piece by piece. And at this point, I'm just kind of taking a couple of screenshots. I don't think we have anything else to do. Let's see. 6, 7, 3, 4. It's only 3. Kind of trying to decide if I want to make them any thicker before I fill this section in here, the red and then the dividers. Which you could maybe do. If I really wanted to, I probably could go one more in and I could make this a dark gray. But I wouldn't go anything more than one more, because then at that point, now we're getting into a point where it could just be too wide. Because again, if I go anything more than that, then I'm getting into territory of making it look like the impulse engines of the Enterprise that was at the end of Star Trek Into Darkness and the beginning of Star Trek Beyond. I'm not sure. They don't look bad as is. I think that is going to cover it for this one. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to have to make any additional thickness to them. I'm pretty happy with how it looks at this point. So I think that's going to wrap up episode 15. And yeah, just want to thank you guys again for tuning in for today's video. If you haven't, please don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. You will not see a video come out on Sundays. Well, in this case tomorrow. But typically, well, not typically, I'm going to try to every single day, Monday through Saturday, I'm going to have a video out. So the next video will be episode 16 coming this Monday. We're going to be continuing on. We're getting close to the point where we're going to start working on our lower hull, filling that in of the saucer section, so this way we can start working on our interior hallways, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I've had a ton of people asking me about how to do your hallways, how to do circle hallways, that they can never get them right. And in the next couple of videos, people have been asking for that. This part of the tutorial is going to be for you. Anyway, thank you guys again for tuning in, and I will see you guys in the next video.